2024. Geez, Dad, why can you never get the date right? Well, that kind of ties into what I'm doing. I'm just constantly on the go. And I can't remember what day it is, let alone what date it is. I think it's Sunday. No, today's the 22nd. 22nd. I think. I don't know. Look it up. But I am headed up to Denver because, a lot of what pilots do, fly airplanes, but there's a lot of classroom stuff too. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I've been doing for the past 2 days. I finished a trip on Thursday, and then we have recurrent training. You have to stay current in the airplane, doing all kinds of procedures and stuff. And we have to stay recurrent in a simulator because you can't really practice flying on one engine in a real. Well, you can, but not the safest. Things like engine failures and emergency descents and stuff like that. You want to practice those in a simulator in a controlled environment. So I had classroom stuff on Friday, and now is day 2 of simulators. So driving up to Denver, you will see everybody passing me because I do not speed. You shouldn't speed either. There's no point to it. You save like 3 minutes over the course of like 60 miles. It's wild. See? I know. I'm being that guy in the slow lane, just letting everybody pass me. Speed limit's 75. I'm doing 69. But I'm safe. I've been staying super, super busy, and like I've said before, I know, a broken record, I like it that way. I get up every day, and it's go, 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 and I love it. That's not to say it's easy, because it's not always easy. There are days that I am dragging, and you find an excuse to win and keep going. I think you guys know what my excuse is. So, I'm gonna head up to Denver. I got some bad news through the grapevine about your grandmother, my mother. I'm still processing it, but I got it last night. And bear with me, I'm kind of stammering here because she's sick. Like pretty sick, having to have some sort of procedure. I didn't really pry because of what we talked about. I think it was last week with regard to resentment. When you have a resentment, you find out the cause. If it's a person, you try and work with them. And if they're not willing to work with you, well, you let them go. And you wish them the best. And, if they ever come back, maybe things can work out. But so I let your grandmother go a while ago, just because she was not willing to make any changes that I needed, and maybe I was asking too much. But now she's sick, and it has me wondering, I'll be perfectly blunt. I'm like, well, is this the end? Oh no, that's a shame. But it's the end here, so I'm not like broken up about it. By here, I mean on this planet. I happen to be a firm believer that there's more. out there to our existence, and what we see around us is just a test. That's my concern. I am not judging anyone, but I can say that I'm concerned that your grandmother hasn't passed the test. That's for God to decide. That's not for me to decide. But it doesn't mean I can't be concerned she hasn't passed the test. And I got to thinking, you know, when I was acting like an asshole, sorry for the bad language, but when I was acting like an a-hole, one of the first things that happened to me was my health started to go. I started having health issues. Like bad ones too, like really bad ones. And it was a damn miracle when I decided to make a change. Every one of my issues cleared up. Every one. From very serious things like very high blood pressure, panic attacks, to little things. Everything cleared up. Then I started looking at the people who live good lives, and they tend to be in good health. It's not to say everybody who's bad is going to have a health issue, or that everybody who has a health issue is bad. It's not like that. There are exceptions. But it is really, really common for people who are not living good lives to have health issues. Physical health issues. Your Uncle Shane, not doing well health-wise. Mom's friend Ryan, you probably remember him, and you probably remember how he ended up in the hospital with health issues. He wasn't doing good things, and it just got me wondering. Like, that's just two examples. There are others. Your grandmother now, not doing good things and having some pretty serious health issues tend to go hand in hand. It's like, I don't know, but is it like God's sign? Like, hey, knock it off. I'm warning you, you know. So, what it comes down to for me is, well, what do I do? Nothing, really. Let people live their lives. Maybe let them know, hey, you might want to make a change. And if they don't want to make a change, then all right, see you later. But that's not to say it doesn't hurt. It hurts. I would like nothing more than to see these people make a change in their lives and let that anger and rage and desire for revenge, one of the most common ones, let it go and see them finish off their lives in a happy ending. Nobody who has a desire for revenge ever has a happy ending to their lives. Mostly because they can get all the revenge they want, and that's not going to make them feel any better. They can act out and scream and kick and try and hurt people, and it does nothing for them. I can tell you from both first-hand experience and from having watched it in multiple people that attempt to get revenge thinking, yeah, I'm going to show that person. They're never happy, ever. and then it just eats them alive. I wake up every day, I say my little prayers. Not the canned ones. I don't do the canned ones. The Our Father's good, though. The Our Father's a good one when you can't think of anything else. But I just talk to God and thank whatever God is for helping me see the light, for lack of a better term. And I get to stay busy. I get to do this. It's like I said in the past few videos, it makes no sense that I got everything back to me. I shouldn't have, but I did. And for me, it's pretty evident that when I gave up the desire for revenge and resentment, shit like that, everything cleared up. Anyway, that's the kind of stuff I think about as I'm driving. So, yeah, I'm gonna head off. I got about another 20 minutes to the training center. I'll try and get some video in there. They're not really keen on people taking videos in there or even taking pictures. They don't really care for it. We'll see what I can do. You guys know what simulators look like. You've flown them. Yeah, see if we can get some action shots. But I will check in either way when I get back home, because I'll be all done with the recurrent, and then start a trip tomorrow morning. All right, I will see you in a minute. Doesn't matter how long I've been doing this. Every time I come to the training center, oh, there you are. Every time I come to the training center, the anxiety starts kicking in. It's that imposter syndrome I was telling you about. That's good. It's good to have imposter syndrome. All right, let's head inside. There we go. Does it work? Oh, for crying out loud. Did I get fired? 2 hours later. There we go. Door didn't want to open. So, 2 hours later, after a not so brief briefing, it's time to come to the fun box. Now we get to have all the fun of every possible emergency you can think of. It's actually a lot of fun. I love it. Say hi, Kenneth.
Hi.
My daughters get to see what we do. Is there no light in here?
Yes, nobody's seeing anything.
Nobody's seeing it. There we go. Now we can see. It's all blurry. Oh my God. I used to worry about that, being in the simulator and doing the check ride stuff, because I was afraid to fail, and I'm I'm past that now. God blessed me with a gift that I'm capable of flying airplanes. And I haven't failed a check ride, and I don't know that it's going to happen. Maybe it will. But now I don't dread it for that anymore. Now I dread it because of the level of exhaustion that goes along with it. I am wiped out. God. It's good though. It's good. But I demand perfection from myself. And even though I did well, there's some video I got of the simulator. And I did well and got commended, but even then, it doesn't matter how good you do. You never fly perfectly. You never go in there and just do everything 100%, and so you end up taking a little bit of a beating. Even if it's just a small beating to the ego. But I go in there like it's a title fight. Like, boxing matches. You're going in for the title fight. And I just go full blast. And my brain is going 3,000 miles an hour. And I'm trying to watch what the other person's doing and manage all these things. And boy, oh boy, oh boy. I think I could do without all the simulator stuff. The flying stuff is pretty fun, but the simulator stuff, the checking events and all that, it's... I have a back spasm right now. So I'm kind of slouching. I'm trying to actually stretch out my back. It's good though. I chose this career, I think, because one, I wanted to be successful for you guys and be able to provide in some way a career that was, beneficial. But I also chose it because of perfection. I think I saw this video years ago. Let's see if I can pull it up. It's the Blue Angels. Blue Angels debriefing. There's got to be an ad. But the Blue Angels are some of the best pilots on the planet, and it's really cool. It kills me, but for the first time, there's a female in the formation flying one of the jets, and she's pretty, for lack of a better term, she's pretty shit hot. She's good. She's really good. I was watching her during the Blue Angels movie, the IMAX movie, and she's no joke. And kind of off topic, but on topic, there's this belief that men give women a harder time in those kinds of professions, and it's absolutely no. I mean, there's going to be assholes all the time. Doesn't matter what profession, and it's not geared towards women or men. There are people who just act like assholes, and they're going to give everybody a hard time. And women think that that's just directed at them. It's not. They're just assholes. But what does happen is the men in that profession, and now even the women, will demand a strive for perfection. Maybe not perfection, but you better be striving for perfection. If you're not, you're gonna get hit. And the way men beat up on each other when they're not striving for perfection or when they're not attaining perfection. I'm trying to choose my words very carefully here. Men will call each other out and be like, hey, that's not good enough, and hey, this isn't good enough. And that's just the way the industry is in a lot of professions. Women then come into that profession and go, well, you're just being mean. No, not being mean. This was the standard we had before you showed up. And then other people come into the profession because of different reasons and think, well, this is racism. No. We just had this standard before you ever got here. And now you got to live up to the standard. That's just the way it is. And this is proof of it. A whole bunch of white guys beating up on each other.
After every flight, the team also goes through a critical debriefing process, which they consider as important as the actual flight itself. They hash out what worked, what didn't, and no punches are pulled.
We are wide open as we can possibly be to criticisms, and we want to become our own worst critics.
We debrief everything. I'll tell you how specific it gets. We even debrief the march to our airplanes and the march back. So, and you get picked on for every little thing. And most of us haven't marched in 10 years of being in the Navy, so they get very, very specific.
The debriefing process takes probably twice as long as the flight took itself. Rank doesn't come into play, experience levels. Those are good, but you have to set those aside when the criticism starts to come, because that's the only way you're going to learn the maneuver, and that's the only way you're going to get to where the maneuver looks good and it's safe.
I think I was a little bit late dropping you guys off, so we're a little low along the crowd. But other than that, smooth air was nice. There was a little bumpy in the spots, but glad we went flying. Glad to be here. Bye.
Sir Moss, I'm glad we went flying too. Turned out nice. And then I had a couple safeties on the left echelon flat pass coming over. I didn't acknowledge the go diamond call. Just concentrating on where I was going and how quickly I moved.
So check out the demeanor of each of them. None of them, they just got out of a jet flying a demonstration in a shiny blue jet. Probably one of the dreams come true of their lives. And look at their faces. They're doing this. You would think they just got bad news, because to them they did. They didn't fly it perfectly. They didn't attain perfection. And it's an important thing to know about people who want to become any kind of professional striving for perfection. You're never going to get perfection. It's never going to happen. They say that in here. But it's that striving for perfection that is important.
And I was 20 feet low on the low brake cross, 280 feet, and I can fix all those things. Glad to be here.
All these things are called safeties, or things that were safety problems or violations from our standards.
Had safety coming back in. For some reason, I thought we were going right 45s to the park. And then I even called turning left when we were turning right. So it went pretty good for me up until we got there. I was just happy to be here and glad to be here.
We have a term that we use, glad to be here. And the term is, I'm Pat Rainey, an average pilot, literally. And I'm, no kidding, just lucky enough to be in the Blues. And that's where that term comes from, to the boss saying, glad to be here. Because there's guys out in the Mediterranean Sea tonight, out in the Persian Gulf, landing on a ship at night, taking care of us. And so I kind of carry a little bit of the fleet with me.
So the glad to be here thing, I've known a few Blue Angels, not known them, but talked to them, and they're one is an acquaintance that I knew from years ago. Anyway, the glad to be here thing is also a sign, because of the demeanor that they have. They have a demeanor, and they're like, and then, well, are you pissed off, or are you glad to be here? It's like, okay, yeah. Look, I'm glad to be here. Just a little bit in the mood right now. And I love that. And I asked both of those guys about that glad to be here thing, because I love it so much, because the blessing that they have to be in that airplane is remarkable. It's how many people have been Blue Angels, but the blessing that they have, they need to remember that. glad to be here. Yeah, things didn't go my way today, and they probably won't go my way tomorrow or next week. But I'm glad to be here, darn it, because I'm getting better. And what they don't show in this one, but they do show in the new Blue Angels movie, which I can't show because they'll probably get pulled off or something. I don't know. But they come down on each other pretty hard. Pretty hard, actually. If you watch that new Blue Angel movie, you'll see the slot pilot, who's the training officer. He's the one that watches everybody and will then tell people in the debrief what they did right and what they did wrong. He says to one of them, "That looked like garbage. That looked like pure garbage up there." And you see the reaction of the other pilot, like, "Really? Really garbage?" But and it comes, believe it or not, I swear to God, girls, because I know this, it comes from a place of love. I love you, and I'm going to make sure that you become the best pilot you are, the best person you can be. And that's why I'm calling you out. I'm not calling you out because I don't like you. I know you can do better, and I want to keep you safe, and gosh darn it, I love you. The laundry's going. So it's important because that's where this comes from in me, and I never expected perfection from you guys. I expected to strive for perfection, and I wanted to instill that in you at an early age. Is work towards being the best person you can be. In psychology, they call that self-actualization. It's the top of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Self-actualization, and it's becoming the best person that you can be, your actual self. You get rid of all the other garbage, and you actually become yourself, what God intended. This is the person God intended me to be, and I'm going to be that person. Self-actualization, strive towards getting towards the best. You might never get there, but that progression of trying to get there is important. There's never going to be a time I go to the simulator and just go, "Yep, crushed it." It's not going to happen. And I'm going to not beat myself up, but just go, "Gosh darn it, I'm tired. I put forth a lot of effort." And in the debrief videos, you'll see in the simulator, our debriefs are a little bit different. We'd sit there after each maneuver that we do, and the simulator instructor will come up behind us and, "Hey guys, none of this. Nope, that didn't work, and you should have pressed this." And the worst part of it, what really sucks, is when he says, "Hey, all right, JJ, what'd you miss?" And my brain is completely fried, and I go, "I don't know." I don't know what I missed. And there's something, you miss something, and it's like, damn it. But you're so exhausted that you can't even remember what you didn't get. And this is stuff that is ingrained in us. Because when an emergency happens, we have to kind of, not too much, but kind of go off of what's referred to as brainstem power. When you're just working off that base of your skull, that's all you got anymore, because the rest of your brain is shut off and is completely useless. So I like it because it helps me towards that self-actualization. It's something that you girls can be proud of. Hey, my dad did this for me. My dad became a pilot for me and became a check airman for me and bought me a house. It's a little bit silly, not silly, but I wanted to be able to do those things. And I like it also because it distracts me from the BS. Because when that's going on, when I'm flying, or especially when I'm in the simulator, there's no BS of the world. The BS of the world goes by the wayside. And I can focus on exactly what I'm doing. I bring that up because it's important, I think, to get a career where that happens. If you're at your job and thinking about the BS of life, whether it be relationships or bills or whatever it might be, you're missing out. Find yourself a career where you can get lost in it and everything else goes by the wayside. So I am gonna go and decompress. I don't know how I'm gonna do that yet. Model building. I'm gonna go work on the model. Maybe. So, build my little model ship. All right, I'll throw a few clips in of the simulator here and see if I can get some narration or something to explain what's going on. I don't know how the sound came out yet. Oh my God, I love you girls. I'm this tired because I'm working for you. Always remember that. All right, until the next time, I love you. Love one another, please. It's really important to me. All right, I will see you the next time you click. So I wasn't able to really get good visuals, but this is us in the simulator. This is after about 2 hours in the sim, I finally broke out the camera, but we're doing a low visibility approach, or
100. Roger.
darn near down to 0 visibility. You'll see me take over. That's me taking over right there because the captain has to do those landings.
50.
The first officer in that case is just waiting to do a go-around. And if I get the runway in sight, then I'll call landing my controls. Take the airplane and land it.
Check.
The simulator's kind of cool in that it creates shaking and noises just like you'd get in a real airplane.
Ready to go miss.
We never really know what's coming in the simulator. They kind of give us a little bit of a brief, but yeah, he was saying that he was ready to go miss because he never saw anything.
Then at Bose, they hear controls and they look up and outside are like, landing on what?
Yeah, the first officers never really look outside. They're looking at their instruments, and so occasionally they'll say, landing on what?
There you go.
Clear for takeoff. Same thing here. We really don't know what's coming. We have just general ideas. And so this ended up being an indication of a fire in our aft cargo compartment. For every takeoff, you'll see that the captain, me, keeps my hand on the throttles, and this is why. I can take the throttles and bring them back, say abort my controls, and bring those throttles back.
Aborting 10 right.
We're making the calls just like we would air traffic control.
Yes, we'll send fire trucks. Scouts 100.
Got an indication that there's a fire in the aft, but there's not necessarily a fire, it's just an indication.
This is the captain. Remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
I try to get everybody to not start jumping out of the airplane, which passengers have done in the past.
Hey, what's up? You ready,
This is
Chris?
JJ.
I'm pretending to talk to the flight attendant who's the instructor.
See any indications back there?
No, I don't see any smoke back here. Everything looks pretty normal.
So
Do me a favor. Head
they're
back
saying
to the
that
lab.
no indications in the cabin like smoke or heat or fire.
We're gonna probably
So in that case, we would just taxi back to the gate,
Back there, let me know, okay?
deplane people, and have maintenance come on and see what happened. And I would probably demand a new airplane at that point. That would scare me pretty good.
Let's have the trucks come meet us. Where are they?
We would still have the fire trucks follow us, just in case.
Exit the runway over there on that taxiway.
We have fire extinguishers in the back of the airplane in the cargo compartment, and so
Sound good to you?
if this were real, a fire could have occurred
That's how that would work out.
and then been put out by the fire extinguishers. And that's why the flight attendant wouldn't see any smoke or anything like that. So in that case, we would still want the fire trucks to follow us to the gate
Is there a
and
reason my steering didn't work?
keep a close eye on us.
Yeah, I do it all the time. You have to time it pretty much right on the sim. It's a fine line between winding up in the grass and doing what you just did. And I
Gotcha.
do it about 50% of the time.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cool.
Now speed it up.
You can drop the parking brake, deselect that, deselect the emergency depress.
Did a good job on that one. Then this one here is engine failure after takeoff. This one kind of caught us off guard. Usually we're anticipating
010.
an engine failure either before we rotate the airplane or right as we're rotating the airplane. If we're right before we rotate, what's called V1, and that's a whole different discussion, but we would abort. If it's right after rotation, we keep going because it's the safest thing to do, believe it or not. So you'll see me kind of shocked that right there, I'm kind of in shock that we actually made it in the air and nothing's happening.
Speed mode heading.
I'm wondering why nothing has happened. So the instructor threw us a little bit of a curveball here, and you'll see the shock on my face. You can see the confusion going on. There it is. That is genuine confusion.
Left engine flame out.
Bug V2 half bank.
Copy. Extinguishing that. Bug in V2.
And right here, I'm intentionally going slow because it's when people get super punchy that they do things that are wrong.
Acceleration altitude.
Engine oil.
Auto
Engine oil.
And I'm trying to figure out the procedure
Engine oil.
for an engine failure that far above the ground. So I'm running through it in my head.
continuous thrust.
He calls for something that he's not supposed to, and then I say to him,
So right
no, actually, we need to turn right there.
280.
So we're both kind of a little bit confused, just trying to figure things out.
Climb sequence.
It didn't go all that perfect because we should have started the turn
I understand.
earlier,
So that was 800 feet, so it all gets pretty compressed.
and now the debrief comes.
It
And
sucks back.
we kind of skipped climb sequence, we got to it, but it just goes to show it's not always going to be the perfect similar, right? Fly the plane first.
And here's where we start taking the beating. Yeah, we really didn't do all that great.
We weren't gonna break anything, so.
Yeah, just kind of go, yeah, that one wasn't very pretty, but nobody died. That's the important part.
It was really nicely done. Let's do another one.
Let's do another one. That's what you never want to hear.
I honestly just forgot the program, so I just scrambled it.
And that's him telling us, yeah, you guys really didn't do all that great on that one.
1,000.
No, 1,000.
Stabilize third land.
So one last one here. This one, the instructor decided to put me in my place because I'd done too well with my flying and procedures. And it's good. You'll see me get frustrated. Right now, the first officer's simulating that he's landing with the left engine shut down.
Engine fire. Continue.
We've just done a single engine approach, and the instructor just said now the left engine's on fire.
Trucks towards 10 right.
So I'm asking for the fire trucks, and I'm kind of in disbelief at this point right here. Like, really? We just accomplished all this stuff.
Minimums.
Landing.
Roger that. Back to left just a touch. There you go.
100.
You'll see the first officer here. He's also kind of in disbelief. He'll shake his head
20. 10.
right there because that fire at the end kind of threw him off his game too. But we get the airplane on the ground, so to speak. Have him stop it. Ordinarily, the captain would definitely be doing this landing,
Tower Skywest.
but he needs to practice the procedure as well.
They'll be on this week.
And I'm in a little bit of shock. Like, really?
I'm just going to make sure the passengers do remain seated.
How are we going to pull this off? I tell the passengers to stay in their seats, but I get a little discombobulated here.
We need to get a hold of Fire Command and see if he sees Flames West Tower. Tower Skywest 100, do you see any indication of
What I'm looking for is an indication or some confirmation, actually, that the left engine is actually on fire.
frequency for Fire Command?
They're telling me that it is actually on fire,
Command Skywest 100,
and I take too long, and I don't talk to my flight attendant. And because of that, that just made that yellow light come
that
on.
was a stupid thing to say to him.
And I, right there, I just realized that was stupid. I should have talked to my flight attendant.
I don't know that I want
I was just looking down to talk to the flight attendant. Now you can hear the door,
So here's the thing, how would you know if you want to evacuate?
and now the instructor steps in.
Actually, I don't know. My head's on fire right now.
That's what I said. I don't know. My head's on fire. I'm pretty frustrated at this point. I couldn't believe the amount of emergencies that were being thrown at us.
I swear to you.
It was. I'm like, I swear to you, I was gonna get to it. I just forgot. It's a lot of fun, and it's even. Well, no, it's actually not fun at all to watch this. It's humbling to watch this, and it's good for me because I get to see myself from an outside perspective. So I sit there and take my beating and just nod and go, yeah, bad move. I should have gotten that fixed, but there you go. That's what life's like in the old simulator. All right, girls, love you.